And hello, Lights and Gear is back with another flashlight review, and I have the Wuben TO46R to show you today. As you can see here, it's a 1000 lumen light, and it is a CRI, meaning that it does bring out colors and show them a little more realistically than you might get with another type of LED beam, say a cool white or whichever. So this light actually has Nichia LEDs, which normally do give you a warmer color temperature. So that's what we're looking at in this particular flashlight. Also on the box here, you can tell that it is micro USB charging. It's not a C, so it's a standard USB. It has access to the highest mode and also to strobe, and has dual switches. So there's a power switch and a mode switch. And on the back of the box are some of the parameters here, and you can see that it gives you 5 regular outputs with eco mode at 5 lumens right up to turbo for 1000, and in between is low, medium, and high. Also has SOS and strobe. It's a nice compact light at just about 5 inches long, or 4 inches plus, and has some nice little features here which we'll get to in a couple of moments. You can see here regarding its waterproof resilience, and it's also of course impact resistance as well. Opening the package, as always, there is a lanyard which they include underneath the belt sheath. So you do get the holster here, and here's a lanyard underneath that, and also some spare O-rings. And inside the holster is your standard USB charging cable. Nothing else inside here. Here's the flashlight, and they do include a pocket clip already attached, and inside the light is a battery. So you'll already have your power source given to you. Here's the instruction manual, which I'll take a look at here in a moment. The battery is inside the light, and just to show you that quickly before we move along, it is an 18650. It's a Wuben, of course, and it's 2600 mAh. So here's your power source, and there's really no need to use any other type of battery. Any 18650, of course, will work in the light, and the USB port is on the light itself. So on the bottom there is nothing, just the name here, just the wording. It tail stands beautifully. Here are your LEDs, which are Nichia 219s, and 3 of them. So this will give you a nice wide beam, not particularly focused, but nice and wide for good, overall lighting. And they are Nichia, so you'll have a warm color temperature. Here are the switches on the side. You have a power switch right here and a mode changing switch right there. And there's the knurling here is not particularly aggressive. It does feel kind of smooth to the touch here. I have not used it with wet hands or anything, and I rarely do use a flashlight with wet hands, but I don't imagine this would be too bad, but it's not particularly grippy either. But there's some nice stylings on this light, and some nice fins up here at the top. So, and oh yes, and here is your USB right there on that side. So pop that open, and there's your port. There's also a power indicator beneath the switch. So as soon as you click it on, you'll get a blue light here for about 5 seconds. And this is more or less just indicating the battery power. As it drops below 30%, that will turn red, and then if it's much lower than that, it'll flash when it's turned on. But other than that, it just stays on a few seconds and then switches off. And while you're charging it, plug in the USB, and the blue light here will flash while it's charging. And if the battery is really low, it'll be red when it first comes on. But when you first connect the USB, it'll be red, then it'll turn to blue, and then it'll go solid blue when the battery has completed the charge. So with the manual here, there are of course some things to make note of. I did already tell you about the switch, which is described in here. You do have instant access to turbo and instant access to strobe. To get to SOS, you have to turn on strobe first, and then it'll change to SOS after a few seconds. There's also an electronic lockout, so that's pretty nice to have, and a lot of lights have that these days. And just talks about here the charging aspect of it a little bit. And here are your parameters once again in heavier detail. So the basic operation of the light is fairly simple. The power switch, of course, will just turn it on and turn it off. And then once it's on, you'll click the mode switch here to advance the modes. And here's the eco mode. And then you've got low, medium, high, and turbo. And you can reach turbo instantly if the light is off. Just press and hold the power switch and you'll get instant turbo. And then of course there's also instant access to strobe, as it mentions in there. But you can press the W here, and if you press and hold W, you'll get like a tactical strobe, and as soon as you release it, it goes off. Now, I didn't mention a moment ago that the turbo is actually tactical as well, because as soon as you release, it turns off. Turbo is in the regular sequence, but if you just want turbo on the go or on demand, that's the way you access that. Let's take a look at the beam here, which is pretty nice with these Nichia LEDs. And if you can tell, maybe a little hard to tell here on camera, you can check out my written review, of course, at lightsandgear.com for some additional pictures and all. But I think actually you can tell here it is relatively warm, and it actually looks a little bit warmer in the camera lens than it does on the wall in front of me, but it is a nice color temperature. So this is the eco mode right here, and then here's low and medium and high and turbo. And here in the next room you can see the turbo over here. The manual makes mention of the fact that it's supposed to auto drop to a level which is slightly below high after about 4 minutes of being on turbo continuously. But I was running it the other day on turbo, and I did not even see any measurable drop. I even ran it up to 10 minutes and I didn't see a measurable drop. So unless it was very, very subtle, and my eyes, of course, naked eyes could not pick up the change, but either that or it's not really dropping as it says it's supposed to. But regardless of that, 1,000 lumens in the high CRI is pretty nice, and you can see the beam that it has no rings, artifacts, or any kind of anything to it other than a nice round smooth beam of light. And that's one of the nice parts of this light and the three LEDs. So again, here are your basic modes, and it's very responsive. You can click it very fast like this, and click it as many times, obviously, and it'll just keep as fast as your finger can press the mode switch. It'll advance through those modes. And as I was mentioning a few moments ago about the strobe and the SOS, you can press here to get the strobe, and then if you keep holding on to it it'll turn into this SOS blink. And you can even release your finger from the mode switch and it will remain in SOS, but then if you press the button again, it'll just return back to the mode it was on previously. So of course, you know, it has mode memory, so it'll always go back to the previous mode if it's been off, or if you're looking at one of the other modes, you know. Now, of course, as I do with all my videos, let me show you the shots that I took previously outside in the darkness of the night with the TO46R. Alright then, and of course if you want to see a couple of additional shots, you can visit my website at lightsandgear.com, where I have my full review. The link is below, and you can read more about the TO46R and see those additional pics there. The only thing I wish it had is an instant access or an on-demand eco mode, because I do tend to use the lowest mode, you know, in and around the house and so forth. And it does have instant access to turbo and strobe, but I wish it also had access to the very lowest mode. But so anyway, that is what it is. They didn't include it, so anyway, but this is eco right here now, and you can see how useful that is in complete darkness and up close range, of course. There is a link below to make a purchase of this. It was provided by my friends at Wuben, and you can visit the Wuben Light website and make a purchase there. I've also included a coupon code, which is active at the moment, or at least as of recording this video, so you can plug in your coupon code and save 10% on a purchase of the Wuben TO46R from Wuben itself. Now, of course, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and do like my video here. And that's it for now from Lights and Gear with the Wuben TO46R. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and let me know below if you have any questions. And as always, we will see you next time with more. So thank you for watching, and take care.